Hello everyone, it's Shanna. Now today's video will be making my Craft Roulette episode 217 card. And I've got these Mente papers and they're just gorgeous and I'm going to use these. So the wheel was very good to us last night. We've got A2, we've got French Cafe colors, we've got an element of June and polka dots. Doesn't get much easier than that. So I'm back to these Mente papers. These are gorgeous. I have 12 by 12 sheets, but these are like the little cut apart scraps that I had laying with my 12 by 12 sheets. And I immediately thought of this paper when we got the French Cafe elements. I just thought they were beautiful. And I'm just cutting all these apart and I'm going to decide which ones I'm going to use for our card. And we'll just get them all trimmed up. If you have not tried Mente papers, you need to. I mean, they are just so gorgeous. And they're double-sided, so there's a lot of really pretty ones on, both sides. And so I've got all these little elements here. And this is a scrap buster card. I looked in my little scrap area, and I had this ink blended panel that I die cut out a tag. And then I had this embossed panel that had polka dots on it. And then I had this piece of till paper here that's kind of got a cut in the bottom of the edge, and a corner of another piece of it is really messed up. So I'm just bringing in all the scraps and I'm using this up for this card. And as soon as I realized I wanted to use the Mente papers that I had here, this card came together very quickly. In real time, it was less than 15 minutes. So what I'm doing is cutting that rough edge away. I measured up that little cut apart, and it was 3 by 4. And so I'm just going 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 so that I can just layer this up. And I think this looks really pretty on this. And I've settled for this little cafe table here with the bird cage, the butterfly, and the lilacs. And I'm trying the other ones, but I do settle on that one. So I'll just lay those other ones aside, and we're just going to get to building this card. And like I said, it's going to come together very quickly because I've got all of my elements that were essentially already made by me, but we're laying in my little, I've got a little basket that I've got a bunch of little panels and scrap in, and it's very small because I recently did a cleanup of my craft room, and I got rid of most of my scraps because I was just hoarding them and it was just overwhelming, and so I got rid of them. So I'm just going to take this ink blended panel that I die cut my tag out of, and you'll see both sides are ink blended because I wanted both sides of my tag to be ink blended. So I'm just going to get this glued down on my card base, and we're going to make this work. And I really, when I had in my mind that I was going to use this Mente, I wasn't thinking about this ink blended panel or anything. I just happened to look over and see it, and I thought, I think this could go nice with it. Now what I'm doing here is just taking the scraps off of that blue panel that was kind of roughed up, and I'm going to fill this tag area just to kind of make it a little more flush, I guess. It's probably not necessary because I'm the way that I lay my panels down, but I'm just going to use them up, and these will be 2 pieces of scrap that will not be laying around my craft room. So I'm real satisfied with that. And we've got this panel ready. And I've left this in real time so you could actually see how quickly it does go together. And I'm just making sure that I can cover that tag die cut that's underneath there, and it's going to be fine. I'm going to have a little bit more border around the bottom than I will the top, but I don't mind that. And I was checking against my glass mat just to make sure this was square, or I guess level, or even. So it was, and I'm going to go ahead and work with it. And then I'm thinking, do I want to pop this up or do I want to glue this down directly? And I'm just eyeballing it still, taking my own sweet time with it. And then I decide I'm going to pop it up. So I'm going to go real quick and grab some foam tape, and it takes me longer than I should because I've rearranged my craft room and I forgot that I had moved it. But I'm leaving real time, not cutting stuff out so you can see. And I just brought in some of this foam, fun foam. I think I picked it up at Walmart, and I'm cutting it down to A2 size panel. And I wasn't thinking because that polka dot panel is not A2 size. So I'm just scoring it, and I'm gonna make some lines here, and I'll have to bring in my scissors to cut it. And I took all this time to make it nice and neat at A2, and then when I realize it's not A2, I just get my scissors and kind of hack away at it. So I kind of was chuckling inside. I was like, why did I use the cutting thing and then wind up just cutting it randomly? But whatever. So we'll just get this out of the way, and I'll bring in my... I thought maybe I could just peel it right off the backer sheet, but the Cricut thing just didn't cut through enough. And so I'm just going to follow that line and cut it away. I really enjoyed Crafty Al and her daughter. I thought her daughter was very smart and fun to watch. She had good ideas, and she was very well spoken. I enjoyed watching her. I thought she was, and they were cute. Their little kind of banter. They were polite with each other, but I thought it was fun that she said they were being polite because they were live, which I thought was cute. But anyway, it was fun to watch. I wasn't in the chat because I missed the live and I caught the replay. But I watched every bit of it. I actually took off my acrylic nails while I was watching the show. And so I got them off, and I actually polished my nails with gel polish while I was watching the show as well. And so I've was able to get those off successfully, and my nails are still in pretty good shape. So I was pretty pleased with that. Anyway, so I'm just going to add some glue to this fun foam and get it laid down on top of my little die cut tag area. And we'll get it positioned how I want it. And I should say, so I've met the parameters of A2 size card. I've got what I'm calling my cafe colors. I think that's really lovely. I've got my polka dots, and this is the back of the paper. And the only thing left is June, and so we'll talk about that in a minute. So we'll just get this laid down on our little piece of, I don't know, turquoise paper, and get a nice little edge around there. And then we'll get it laid down on our card. Now, it's early morning and the sun's starting to peek in, so we're getting some sun rays on my desk there and some shadowing. But I actually got this done, I think, before 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. And so we'll glue this up and get this laid down as well. And I think for being a bunch of scrap junk elements, I think it's come together beautifully. It's a simple card. When you've got some beautiful patterned paper, you can make some cards fairly easy. And I'm just making sure I've got it lined up real nice, and we'll just press down. And then I remembered as I was doing this that I had a sentiment that was already die cut out and glued from when I had worked with these papers before. And so I'm going to just grab it and bring it in. And I'll put this on the inside. And this is where June comes in. I'm going to put happy birthday in there. And my birthday is at the end of June. And so I'm celebrating my birthday with this card in June. And I made this card on June 1st. So I've covered all of the elements of the wheel, which I thought has been really kind to us. I guess the last 2 weeks. We had a couple, 2 or 3 really rough weeks, but the last 2 weeks I think has been very kind to us. So I'm going to lay this down on there, and it looks like my H is not quite glued down, so I'm going to clean off that tip and just put a little glue on there and then press down on it. We'll get this pressed down, and then I remember I've got some more scraps of this Mente paper that I can bring in. So I'm going to real quickly grab some of those and look at those, and I'm thinking, what do I want to do? And so I'm just looking at the scraps, and then this butterfly catches my eye, and I think I could fussy cut this out and add it to my card. So that's what I'm going to do. So the reason why I missed Craft Roulette last night was my sister had gotten a certification for her job. She had to take a test for it that she had to study pretty hard for. And so she had taken the test this week, and she had passed her test. And not only had she passed her test, but she had the highest score. There were 2 people that got the highest score, and my sister was one of them, and it was the exact same score. So my dad was actually by himself this weekend because my mom is at a baby shower with her sister, and they're away for the weekend. So we had decided, my dad and I, that we would take my sister out to celebrate her completion of her certification and getting the highest score. So we did that. We went out to dinner together, and then my dad's a big gamer, and so my sister and I stayed with him for a while, and we played some games, and he just beat the tar out of us in everything we played, and which was fun because normally we beat him, so it was fun for him to have a chance to win. But so that's why I missed the show. Then when I got home, I rewatched the replay for Craft Roulette. So I've got this butterfly all cut out, and I'm just going to bring in some foam tape, and I'm digging around trying to find, I knew I had some scrap foam tape that was left over from old Spellbinders kits, and I think I had just 2 pieces of foam on here, and I thought, since I'm doing all my scraps, I'm going to just bring this scrappy foam tape in and use it and pretty much finish off that little square so I can get rid of it. I guess I can cut it apart and use some more of it. So I laid that butterfly on there. I think that looks cute, and it adds some dimension to it. And I showed you the card, and then I've decided, wait a minute, I've got some more scraps. I think I'm going to decorate the bottom inside of this card. So I'm just really embellishing this thing. And so I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to trim down the part of the scene that I want to include. So I'll trim some off of both sides. And now I'm going to get it to a 4 1/4 A2 size and trim that off. And then I'm going to trim it down. I'd like it to be a little bit narrow, but I don't want to cut my butterfly away, and I don't want to cut much of my florals away. So I'm just going to trim a small edge off of there, and we'll lay this down. And there won't be a lot of room for a large note, but for birthdays, you don't always have to put a big note in there, because a lot of times you'll have a gift and you'll just sign your name with it. So I think this will work out fine. And so I'm celebrating my June birthday a little bit in advance by creating this card. And I think it turned out beautiful. So I hope you like it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.